Hello guys, welcome to the brand new Boosted Media Studio. So we did a bit of an update for you guys on the build process a couple of weeks ago. We've pretty much got everything set up and ready to go now. So today we're gonna run you through the entire setup, all the little details, and show you how things are gonna be working here from now on. All right, so where I'm standing pretty much exactly right now will be the basic framing. You guys can see the cameras there in the shot for the majority of our review videos. So anywhere where I'm sitting at the desk or doing anything like that, we'll have a nice wooden top desk sitting just here. Unfortunately, that hasn't arrived just yet. Otherwise, we would have it in the shot for you now. But this will basically be our backdrop for all of the videos. So you've got the sim rig behind us and, you know, just a basic sort of nice man cavey kind of vibe thing going on. We've got an area marked out on the floor here as well with some gray tiles. This will be where we do building and things like that. So if we're doing, say, a cockpit review, something like that, we can build that all here. Hopefully we don't have too many issues with washers and things falling down underneath the tiles. That was a comment that we saw quite a bit on the previous video where we put all these tiles in. Anything that is steel can generally be sucked up with a magnet, but if we drop SD cards and things like that down there, they're going to be a nightmare to get out, but we'll see how that goes. We may end up putting a mat down or something like that when we're working here, but we'll see. Around the room as well, you can see some acoustic panels laying around. We are still probably going to do a little bit more treatment on top of that potentially. We'll see how things go. I don't want the sound in here to be too dead. I kind of want to have the garage vibe, but again, we'll sort of figure that out as we go along. Let us know in the comments what you guys think as well. But what we've done with one of the panels is cover it here with some black fabric. So we'll do the same thing on the other panels as well, just to tidy them up. We may end up putting some standard sort of wavy acoustic tiles on the roof as well, just to stop some of that reflection from top to bottom. I was hoping that the ground tiles might do a little bit better of a job at dampening the sound a bit, but because we've got the slab directly underneath it, there is still a bit of early reflection going on between the top and bottom of the studio. So we'll figure that stuff out as we go along though. So behind us here, we have what's going to be our test rig. So you remember previously we were using a projector up against the wall. Didn't always have the best contrast there for the context of what we were doing with testing things. So we've got the Track Racer TR120 sitting here. This has been a really good rig for testing things, nice and solid, no flex anywhere, so it gives us plenty of opportunities to test things to their full potential. And then we've got you guys that have been watching the channel for a long time might remember this TV. This was the first TV that I had set up on the sim rig back when we were playing F1 2018, I think it was. So this has made a return. This has been sitting on my living room wall for quite some time now as our main TV, but we're bringing it back downstairs now. And then over on the left-hand side of that, you guys have seen this rig already. We'll be seeing a lot more of this in the coming months as well. We are actually going to be upgrading this to a 13900K as well. You can see we've got the 4090 in there now as well. Probably not actually going to end up water cooling that, I don't think, because it runs very efficiently and relatively cool with the air cooler on it. But you can see the streaming PC down below it. That is actually an 8086K processor, so 4 or 5 years old now with a 2080 Ti, but this is only being used to just capture cameras and audio, so we don't need anything super high-end for the streaming and video capturing. And then obviously the main sim rig is being run by this top level here. So 12900K at the moment, but it will be a 13900K, 64 gig of RAM in there, and then the 4090 with a high spec SSD in there as well to keep everything running nice and fast. Now, one thing that you'll notice as well is we've put a lot of effort into this setup now to make it look a lot more presentable, basically wherever you're looking at it. And we put I'd say it's taken us almost a week to get this all set up the way you see it now. You'll remember in the previous studio, you know, it had crappy carpet in there. There was really only a couple of angles that you could use for video. Whereas in here, you know, we can walk around the back here. If we come around the side over here as well, you can see pretty much from any angle, it's all blocked out quite nicely. And it all works really well. One other thing I can show you as quickly as well while we're around here is, and again, we'll be blocking out all these acoustic panels with black or something like that. We've actually got, say, 5-pin 3-phase power connection down here now as well. So the entire sim rig is being run directly off a 3-phase circuit, which we had put in. So we've got a sub board here from the main board upstairs. And then we bought a little breakout power board, I guess you could call it here. So we've got 2 GPOs per phase. So what I've done is I've connected the monitors to one phase, the motion platform to another phase, and the PCs to the third phase. You don't need to do that. This does all run off a single phase. That's how we did it previously. But I figured since we have the technology here, we may as well use it, and that should alleviate any potential issues. And it's nice to sort of separate all those circuits as well. There's still a lot of tidying up to do in the back of the PC system as well. I just haven't gotten around to tidying all that up yet. I was going to wait until we put the 13900K in there. You can see at the moment the D-Box controller is just kind of sitting in the back there, and there's there's a network switch down there too. So that'll all be presentable from both sides as well. Yeah, and then we've got a nice big tool chest up the back here. This is kind of just going to be our dumping ground for various bits and pieces that we're working on. Tom will have all these cameras set up and everything here. We've got some storerooms along the side here too. But then for the main sim rig, we've set it up pretty much exactly the same way as it was before. Made a couple of improvements just again with presentation. So we got these acoustic panels, I think they call them acoustic pin boards. We got them from Bunnings, which is a giant hardware store here in Australia. So we spent an entire day actually building this up with some MDF and wrapping fabric over it. We just didn't find that it worked very well. We're getting a lot of sound reflection and it was just a mess. So we ended up doing this instead. So we got it all set up in the end, a nice wrap around here with the acoustic pin boards. The idea being that when you're sitting in the sim rig, all that you've got around you is just the screen, the wheel, and then just blackness basically. So we can have a nice dark shot without any reflections or any weird light going on. We may end up needing to put some mats down as well over the tiles, but we'll see how that goes later on. But these actually do dampen the sound in here quite nicely as well. So when I'm sitting in the rig, you don't get too much reverberation going on. We did the same thing as we did before with the bezel-free kits as well. So you can see it's actually one kit per side. And what we did is we fixed it in place at the top and the bottom, and then we threaded a piece of string. And again, this was an idea that I got from Carl Gosling, so big thumbs up for him for that idea. So basically, it's a little tiny piece of plastic with a piece of string threaded through it, through the back of the screen, and that is just used to pull those kits into place on either side. You guys will remember previously we actually experimented with having some double-sided tape on the screen, sticking them in place, but that kind of gave you a hard edge there where it distorted the light a little bit. You do still have a bit of a distortion here where the two kits join together, but unfortunately we have experimented with a bunch of other options. You can remove the Fresnel lenses out of the screens themselves. If you've got an old TV or something like that, you can experiment with that. But in my experience, at least with everything that we've tested so far, these ASUS bezel-free kits seem to work the best. So that is what it is. SimRig is exactly the same as it was before. We're still running the D-Box G3, slightly smaller footprint than the G5 that we reviewed just recently as well. Still a few little bits and pieces to do in terms of tidying up cable management and things like that. But again, we'll be using the same helmet cam system. This is the helmet cam here in case you're wondering. So basically what we do is we plug it in. You can obviously run GoPros off batteries. This is a GoPro 10. You can run them off batteries, but what we found is that the camera would overheat after about 20 minutes filming in 4K. So we just run it off a power supply. And it's literally just a bicycle helmet that sits on my head, and I'll pop it on quickly for you now so you can see. It looks pretty ridiculous. So I'll pop it on and you can see the camera actually sits pretty much directly in front of my eye. So if I close my right eye, it's blocking probably 40% of my vision, but I can still see fine. I'm actually right eye dominant, so it works pretty well for me. It looks ridiculous, and I'm sure anybody that walked down here while I was filming would wonder what the hell I was doing, but it makes for some pretty cool videos, so that is all good. That's how we do that. So we just record to the SD card on the GoPro 10, and then we dump it off onto the editing PC. We capture the audio separately as well, so the game audio all runs down to the capture PC, and that is how we do all that. We're still running the Acertec Invicta pedals. Haven't really seen any reason to change them. Still very happy with them. The SimiCube 2 Ultimate's still sitting on here as well. Really like this and the way it integrates on the rig, because it's such a small profile in terms of its footprint. And hiding behind the wheel. It's long, but it hides quite nicely behind the wheel, which is really nice. This is the Cube Controls CSX3 that we reviewed just recently. We've actually got a bunch of really, really nice high-end wheels that we're going to be reviewing over the coming months as well, so really excited for that. And then you can see we've got a trolley over here. You guys have probably seen that before with all the other wheels and bits and pieces sitting on, so we can have easy access to them. Wireless router sitting behind here as well. That's running up to a switch upstairs where the modem is. And then we've also got a separate Hue bridge here as well, which is responsible for running the Hue lights. Now that is one thing that we have changed. You'll remember before we had 3 of the 2-meter outdoor strips. We had one kind of running across the back and then one in each corner. We had a lot of problems with that in terms of just trying to keep them out of the shot. Often they would be reflecting on the screens and creating some little issues like that. So I went and bought this addressable RGB strip. So you can see it's actually addressable. Every single LED can change individually, and it's quite a lot brighter than the previous system that we had. So what I've tried to do is position this directly above the wheel, so it gives a really good lighting effect when we're driving. And if you're wondering what the hell I'm talking about here with this, if you haven't seen this before, this is basically an ambient lighting system that allows us to simulate the light that would be coming off the game and sort of highlight my hands and things like that. So if you're wondering how that works, we do have a separate video where we explain how to set that up and how to get it all up and running. Otherwise, pretty much exactly the same as it all was before. So yeah, generally day to day, we'll have this space pretty free. This will be where we're building stuff, as I said before. And yeah, I think it's gonna work really well. So that is the space. If you've got any questions, let us know down in the comments below. And yeah, look, I've got to say a big thank you once again to you guys for all the support that you've given us. Honestly, this, none of this would have been possible without it. I look back on where we were just a couple of years ago. We were filming in my dining room, which was an area no bigger than just this little space here. And then we went from that into my garage, which was a 2-car garage. And it's incredible what we managed to achieve in that tiny little space. If you look back at it, I was actually over at the other house the other day before we sold it, sort of finalizing things. And yeah, it was just amazing to see that tiny little space and what we were able to sort of, sort out in there. Then we moved from there to the rental house and we ran that for a while. We didn't really show you guys too much of that simply because, it was a temporary thing. And yeah, now we're all set up here. So we'll see how this goes. We do have the main house directly above us. This is a suspended slab, as you guys saw in the previous video. So hopefully noisy kids aren't too problematic for us. We may end up building a shed or something like that up the back of the property later on that we can move all this stuff to if it is an issue. But for now, at least for the next couple of years, I think this is going to work really well. So yeah, guys, thank you very much for all the support. And yeah, really looking forward to getting stuck into some review videos. We have been sort of falling behind a little bit lately. We've had quite a bit of sickness in the family. Tom was really sick and I'm actually a little bit sick at the moment too. But we've just been really flat out these last couple of months, obviously organizing, selling the old house, buying this house, moving everything in from the main house, moving everything across from the studio. We actually moved 5 times this year when you consider all the styling and everything that we did with the house that we sold. So it's just been an absolutely crazy year, but really looking forward to focusing in now and really smashing out the content. There are going to be some changes there as well, but we'll fill you in all the details on that as soon as we possibly can. So thanks for watching, guys. And yeah, we'll see you again very soon. Bye.